Trucks, Xfinity, and the Cup Series all head to Las Vegas for what is expected to be another great racing weekend. We get you ready from a betting perspective next on the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. I'm your host, Derek Yoder. And if you are new here, please, if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It helps our friends over at In Between Media. I see so many filing in already over there. If you are listening on X Spaces, hello, welcome. Make sure you hit that retweet button. It helps us in a great deal and helps your listeners and your fans follow in as well. If you're listening on the podcast, we've had a record number of podcast listeners lately. Thank you very much for listening. Make sure you hit the subscribe button there. Leave us a review. I don't care if it's negative or positive. I don't care. I mean, tell us, what you like, what you don't like. That's kind of the name of the game, right? So welcome, everybody. Happy to have you. Looking forward to diving into today's slate. I will say this. Mark, you and I, we're not shook, right? But there's a lot happening on this show right now in like 20 minutes. Our guy Ryan win the race. He just had a storm come through, and his Wi-Fi is out. So like we're missing him right now. Phil's had quite the day, and so he might be in or out. Mark, you just showed me before we went live. You have like 60 boxes behind you. We might just do an unboxing at some point. So I show, if you have it, show what I picked a random box and you just showcased it, what it was. So what he got, and make sure you hit the unmute button so we can hear you if you're going to talk. So it's Mark Martin throwback to when he won at North Wilkesboro, correct? I think I got that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I got a bunch of boxes back here that I'm waiting to build some furniture so I can put it up at, so you guys can stop looking at this ceiling nipple I got going on here.
Yep.
No, other than that, we're feeling good. I got a deadline of a couple weeks, so I got a new desk. I got all this shit, so it'll be up in a few weeks.
I thought you were about to say you have a deadline for tonight, and I was about to freak out. So let's do this. I want to introduce you first, Phil. Just going to give you a quick second. So, Mark, you were a man that traveled a great deal last week. You went up to Columbus, Ohio. You experienced snow, so I'm happy to see that. You went to a hockey game. You went over to where your former Jaguars coach, one of your favorites of all time, and you got to see the bar that he hung out at. How was everything? How was the weekend? How was the betting weekend? How are we feeling?
An incredible weekend that I had. I drove in the snow for the first time. I walk out to my rental car, and it is covered in snow. And I'm like, well, I got a credit card. That's about the best I got. And I'm calling Rory, and I'm like tweeting out, what the hell do I do with this? They're like, just turn the defrosters on, turn it all the way up, wait about 10 minutes. You'll be ready to rock. So we got all that situated. Yeah, we went to the Blue Jackets game. My new favorite hat, had a blast, drank a few too many Jack Daniels, ended up at Urban Meyer's bar where the old finger popping was going on after the Jags lost in Cincinnati. He leaves the team. He goes to Columbus, Ohio. He shows up at this bar stool. I sat in the exact bar stool that he was at. I pounded drinks, and then I left and flicked him off because they've got a statue of him outside. So, yeah, wonderful time. Great luck at Atlanta. Thank you, McDowell. Thank you, Danny Suarez, Top Chevy. I wish I had that 40-1 on the card. And I'm ready to get to some real racing here. I finally have some numbers, some explanations, some power rankings. So looking forward to tonight.
So you didn't have Daniel on the card? You talked about him last week? My
well,
cousin, my
funny
cousin
enough.
texted me. Hold on, my cousin texted me Monday morning, and he said, "I wish I would have followed what Mark said and gotten on." I think you said Top Chevrolet.
Oh no, I had 16-1 top Chevy for Danny Suarez.
Okay.
I just didn't have him outright. I did lay a small wager on him when I was drunk at Urban Meyer's bar. But it was, I had to wake up Saturday morning and scroll through the pending for that one. But yeah, I mean, how lucky. I mean, I don't have any other words for the luck that I've had the last 13 days, thus 2 weekends. It's been incredible. Ready to keep going.
Phil, I'm going to turn it over to you. Welcome. How are you? How was the betting weekend? How'd the birthday parties go? How was everything? Let's start with that first.
Things went well this weekend. Yeah, we're 0 for 2 on the money line, 0 for 2 in photo finishes so far this year, but doing well elsewhere. So that's good. Good head-to-heads, top tens. I had Suarez top 10, just didn't have the balls to take them like some of your other folks did. But yeah, good weekend. Survived the super speedways in style, and now, like Mark said, ready to hit Vegas with some more metrics that we can use and hopefully win some more money. So yeah, I'm not as happy as Mark, that's for sure. And bit of a rough day in our household today. We lost our hot water heater went. So we're going to Vegas. I'm that degenerate in Vegas. Like, Daddy needs a new hot water heater. So hopefully I can make some money to hit some Lowe's or Home Depot and cash that. But no, we're scrambling today, and I'm just happy to be here with you boys. Your smiling faces and everyone in the chat. Feels good.
We are going to keep you smiling. That's for sure. So Ryan, if you can hear me, you got me, my friend. Maybe not. All right, we're gonna say not. We're trying to get Ryan, like I said, he got a storm going through, not his fault at all. Love to hear what he has to say, but obviously with the podcast and the YouTube to sync all the stuff together, we need to have him on the episode here on the YouTube. So we're trying to get the audio working there. So let's do this because we got a jam-packed show. Full of everything, and I see Ryan's on the X Spaces, and I see that he's on YouTube. So he's trying very hard, and Seth is working everything behind the scenes. If you're watching on the YouTube side, and now my face is so zoomed in, I look like 1 billion pounds. So this is good. We're flying. This is a great start. So let's do this. Let's do some rapid fire. I'm going to use you two only. Okay. So we're going to do this. Take your time. We're good. So let's do this. I'm going to start with Phil. So better finish in NASCAR history. Okay, we just had one of the best finishes of all time. Better finish in NASCAR history. Darlington 2003, Kurt Busch, Ricky Craven, or Atlanta last weekend.
Oh man, I got to go the recency bias just because it was the three car yep. Photo finish. So cool. Yep. Love the comparison to the movie Cars. Thought that was awesome. Very funny and a good way to attract non-NASCAR fans. So I wish I was cool enough to say, 03, but recency bias has me.
Okay, so recency bias has you. If anybody can go to Atlanta, I highly recommend it. They had 375 tickets left going into yesterday. So more than likely they're going to get sold out over the weekend, which is crazy. Like, that's something we're going to be talking about. September, college football, NFL right around the corner, and you're going to be seeing a packed stands at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm going to be there. Mark?
Yeah, damn right, buddy.
Damn right.
I'm going to be there.
Good. So we're both going to be there. We're going to get Phil to fly down. We're going to make that happen. We're going to figure it out. So, Mark, I'm going to go to you now with this question next. So, points leader Kyle Busch will finish 6th or better this week at his home track.
Oh, buddy, I'm gonna go. Right? I'm gonna go worse. I'm looking at Highline's power rankings. Got him 10th. Okay. Honestly, I haven't done much research on Kyle Busch. Nothing has stood out to me this week, so nothing tells me. That means that nothing tells me that he's going to finish 6th or better. So I'm going to say worse. Absolutely
worse. You say okay. So we're going to try something. Ryan, do you got me? I'm going to try again. Testing 1, 2, 3. Ryan, 3, 2, Fail. 1. See ya. All right. So Phil, going to go back to you.
Before you ask me my rapid fire.
Yeah.
I just want to say, put a pin in that question that you just asked, Mark, because I'll
Love
come
it.
back to something that I found interesting this week.
Come back
As
to
we're
it.
scrapping and clawing for some good odds and some fun conversations out there. Just put a pin in that one. All right, we'll come back to it.
Okay, I'm gonna put a pin in it. So let's do this. Let's go. Who did I just go to? Mark. So I'm gonna go to you now, Phil. Right?
Yep. I'm ready.
I'm gonna go with MTJ has finished 10th or better in 5 of his last 6 Las Vegas starts. His Sunday outlook for you is what?
Anywhere from 5 to 10. He's 4 for 4 in the next gen error at Vegas, finishing the top 10, and 0 for 4 finishing in the top 5. So I think he'll finish 6 through 10.
Okay, so you think you finish 6 through 10. Okay, Mark, going to you here. Hometown matchup: Las Vegas hometown kids, Gregson or Hocevar. Who has a better finish on Sunday?
So I'm going Gregson, not only because I love Gregson, but the books are high this week on SHR, and I don't mean smoke and reefer. I mean, high numbers.
Yep.
But also smoke and reefer. A little questionable. Like, I understand SHR without Harvick has been the epitome of dog shit, but what is the second Spire car gonna do? You have how many employees with Spire and how many with SHR, and we got a new body style. I'm a little higher on Ford in general this week. I think that the downforce is going to play a factor. It is going to be better for them on mile and a halves. They don't have Kevin Harvick, but they do have Rodney Childers in the stable, which possibly maybe he's sharing information now, possibly not. I don't know. This is absolutely, definitely a Hocevar fade rather than a Gragson bet. But I expect Hocevar to be 28th to 33rd, somewhere in that range, 32nd. I do not expect a 77 car to be fast this week.
I do think that would be a pretty good matchup, personally. I think that'd be fun to watch. Phil, I'm going to go with you on this one. Since joining Trackhouse, Chastain has finished 5th or better 3 times in the past 4 races. So, what's his outlook here on Sunday? Is he going to finish top 5 this weekend?
I'm high on Chastain this weekend. I talked about him on the pod, on my pod, a couple different ways. You can get him for a top 10 at minus 125, which I think is serviceable. I'm interested in a 15-1 win for Chastain, like, honestly, because he puts himself in the position, but kind of waiting to see how things look after practice and qualifying. So his outlook, I think top 5 is well within his grasp this weekend, and keep it going at this track.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Our guy Ryan, he's messaging back and forth, but he's sending in his plays, so I'm going to get him out there. Make sure you guys do visit wintherace.info. Great site, great data. We had Greg last week, which was a great fill-in. He gave us a ton of data, helped us out immensely going into Atlanta. And Ryan and what his team are doing is phenomenal. So make sure you're supporting them, even though you're not hearing Ryan right now. Not his fault, but we're gonna get him plugged in some way, somehow. So you answered that, Phil. Mark, I'm gonna go to you. This guy hasn't scored a stage point since 2022. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Not a clue.
Your favorite driver of all time,
Matt.
No, Matt. Who's Matt?
I don't know who Matt is.
Okay.
Who?
Oh, Matt. Yeah, Matty D. Chase Elliott has not scored a stage point since 2022. Now, I know he was out last
at
year.
Vegas or
at Vegas. They have terrible. They run so poorly when it comes to the fall. So, what's your outlook for Chase? Not scored top 10. Not scored a stage point.
I'm in flip, I guess. I stare when Chase Elliott made his return last year. I stared at this 14-1 number that we're getting this year, and I slobbered all over it. I'm all about it. Everything to do. I'm like, Chase Elliott, Hendrick Motorsports, second best car, maybe first best car some weeks. But I've lost enough money to just be so lukewarm on Chase Elliott. If he goes out and basically it's a wait and see on Chase Elliott. If he goes out in practice, has some good 15, 20 lap average speeds, his number moves to 12 to 10. Okay, I'll think about it. He's really got to light the world on fire. lukewarm on NASCAR's fix this week.
Okay, so you're lukewarm there. Phil, I'm going to go back to you. Which OEM unloads better this weekend? If you remember, Toyotas, they have a new body. Ford has a new body. Which one unloads better, in your opinion, this weekend?
I am a prove it to me type of guy.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was on, I think it was on this show and my own pod and any other show that we were doing to start the season, the back road. I was saying Chevy has an opportunity to just come out of the gates blazing because they've got their notes. They've got what they know, and everybody else is still learning. Everyone's excited about what they have, but you don't know until you see what you have.
True.
So I feel like Chevy has been so good, 3 of 4 at Las Vegas in the next gen era. They've got the notes.
Yep.
So if the others are serious with this rebuild, then this new model for their vehicles, I gotta see them prove it. So I'm all over Chevy. I think you roll with Chevy until the other guys poke up.
Yep. Okay, so you're going to ride with Chevy. I like it. I respect that. Mark, going to go with you here. Drivers with no top 10s in the Gen 7 era at Las Vegas. Ready for this? The 7 car, the 17 car, the 34 car, the 41, the 47, Ty Gibbs in the 54, just to name a few. Which one of those guys scores a top 10 this weekend, gets off the schneid there, and scores their first Gen 7 top 10 at Vegas?
The first thought was, when you said the 17, my ears perked up. But then I quickly, kind of like what Phil said.
Go
like,
your gut. What's the gut?
Ty Gibbs. I mean, the gut's Ty Gibbs because I'm so high on Ty Gibbs this year. I think there's enough resources to go around at JGR. Obviously Buescher had some great runs on speedways last year. The last 4 Vegas races, he had NLD speed rankings of 28th, 27th, 24th, and then last fall he had an 11th. So I got to go with Tyrone Gibbs. He hasn't lit the world on fire at Vegas either. His best speed ranking is 21st, but I expect the experience to kick in with Ty Gibbs. I expect him to have fast cars this year. And I'm going to be remiss if I don't mention our buddy McDriver. Won me a lot of money last weekend. If this whole Penske Alliance top tier thing is going on, and I'm going to talk about him a little later in the show, but and Fords, contrary to what Phil was saying, if the Fords do come out with a little bit of speed, watch out for some McDowell top 10 odds.
Okay, so McDowell might be a guy that you are watching this weekend. Now, Phil, this question's for you. I did have it for Ryan. But favorite pole bet you have going into this weekend? And you can say none, because I thought I saw Ryan posting something on his Twitter account about polls or pole bets. So you want to pass from that? How about anything in trucks? Have you seen anything in trucks that you like yet?
Well, I'll answer the poll question. I don't usually bet polls. But I do know just from digging into the research that we've got some guys that perform really well in qualifying, and Byron's one of them. I think Joey Logano is another one. I just don't know what their numbers are because I haven't been looking at bet and poll. And trucks, I mean, since this might be the only time we talk about it tonight, jam-packed show, we got to say, man, we were wrong about KFB at Atlanta. And we're bowing down and we're saying, okay, give me that -110 Vegas, baby, because you proved me wrong, dude. I'm not betting. I'm not crossing you up again. That'll be the conversation there.
You brought up something, Mark. You actually had pole bet odds. I think you said, right? You were signaling you had something special.
I'm looking at Bet365. Byron 550, Logano 750. I don't know who else you named. Bell's the favorite at 4.5.
Yeah.
So, not my cup of tea.
Not your cup of tea there. Okay, how about this? Phil, you said something that's kind of sparked something in my mind. When I was thinking about all the winners this year, if you take every winner from Trucks, Xfinity, Cup at Daytona and Atlanta, only one manufacturer has won this year. It's all Chevy. Everything's coming up Chevy, to your point there. So, Mark, I'm going to give you this and give me like 10 seconds while I go let my dog out upstairs. Monday morning headlines will read what?
Trackhouse gamble continues. Chastain, Melon Man smashes the dice. I don't know.
I like it.
Smashes.
Better than Phil's last week. Usually I'm the shitty one to think of Sting on the spot, but I feel good about that one.
That was pretty good.
I
had a little bit of everything. I like it. I thought you were going to say something like Rodney Childers rolls the dice in Vegas, kind of a thing. Like I just thought
he said gambles. That was a nice little throw in there.
I mean, Phil, I was running. I didn't. You think I heard what he said? I didn't. So I was running there. All right. So then that will conclude the rapid fire. It's always a fun segment because we do get a lot of people going back and forth, and it's fun chatting with you guys here. If you have anything with that on Twitter Spaces or on YouTube, make sure you chime in. Now, we're going to dive into a new segment, Ride or Fade. I wish Ryan was here for this. This is going to be, so this is our head-to-head segments. The same thing. We're going to do our head-to-heads, but the guys, so Phil's going to go first. He's going to give his head-to-head like he always does, but then Mark and I are going to say, are we riding with that? We like that? Or are we fading it? We're going to keep this tracked all year. Phil, kicking it over to you. What's your favorite head-to-head you found on the board?
My favorite head-to-head found on the board. This is on Caesars.
Okay.
And this was head-to-head of two guys that you've already kind of brought up. I am taking Ross Chastain minus 120 over NASCAR's fixed Chase Elliott for all of the reasons.
What was the price?
Minus 120. That's when I got it. And you mentioned the stats for Ross, right?
Yep.
I mean, 3 top fives and 4 starts, 4 for 4, top 15, 5.5 average finish. That's first in NASCAR. Driver rating is second. Like everything is there in Vegas.
Yeah.
And then in the mile and a half last year, Ross Chastain continues with that, right? He's second in average finish. His driver rating's up there. 11th in green flag speed. We can live with that. But Chase, he's 5 for 7 finishing outside the top 10 in his last 7 starts in Vegas. We know what happened last year. You know, we don't have to revisit it again and again and again, but it's another prove to me situation. Prove to me that the 9 car is back and a viable option to bet because he's matched up against a bona fide stud this week. So that's a tough win for Elliott, in my opinion, unless there's an act of God scenario in there. So Chastain minus 120 is the head-to-head.
I'm going to ride with you there, Phil. I like that side. I like the Chastain side the most over Elliott. We talked about it briefly. Elliott does struggle for whatever reason. That team struggles here. Seems like HMS struggles more so in the fall than they do the spring. But this team just so hit or miss. So I like Chastain. How about you, Mark? Are you riding or are you fading Phil with that? And then what's your favorite head-to-head?
I am riding with Phil. We're going to talk a lot about the old Melon Man tonight, so I don't want to spill all my beans, which historically on this show, that's either really good and everybody is happy, or half the time it's really, 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 really god awful. So yeah, we're going to talk a lot about Chastain. So, and like I said earlier, I'm lukewarm on Chase. I'm pretty high on Chastain, and you'll get my explanation why here in a bit, but my favorite matchup this week. Anybody that knows me knows that I love me a shitbox matchup. There is nothing in this world that gets me going more than a shitbox matchup. And if you don't know what a shitbox matchup is, that is essentially someone that's expected to finish 20th or worse. That's my category, right? Maybe like middle of the pack and back. You know, when they show the ticker on the left-hand side of the broadcast and you don't get to see your guy and you never see him on TV, so you got to keep refreshing the app, that's a shitbox. All right. Well, Caesar Sportsbook has come to freaking play this week, gentlemen. Now, I have to credit Ryan. I wish he was here. He had very much opinions on this, and his entire Discord did. Our Discord did. I'm in a couple group chats. I'm getting hammered on it. My laying coins own Zach with Highline Betting has been peppering me over this matchup. But you know what? I don't care. All right. This matchup is the first career Cup start of Derek Kraus with plus money against Justin Haley. Okay, hear me out. This is all an equipment matchup. I do not give one flying shit who is driving the 51 of Rick Ware racing car. I do not care. You could put Larson in the 51, and I would highly consider taking Derek Kraus in this matchup. Okay. Does that mean I will? No. Don't be tweeting me. Don't be comment. Oh, Skybox is going to take Derek Kraus against Larson. No, I'm just saying I'd consider it. Depends on the number. But this matchup opened at plus 130. It is now plus 110, plus 105, even money. I don't know. I haven't looked in the last couple hours. I got down at plus 110. Now, there have been 4 races in the Gen 7 car at Vegas. The worst a colleague car, both cars have, and both teams have had 2 cars in all these races. The worst a colleague cars finished was 22nd, which is way above average for colleague at 1.5 miles, and that's their worst finish in the last 4 races. Okay, there's been 8 finishes combined. So the best Rick Ware car finish in those 4 races is 26th. So 4 spots off. That's the worst and the best. Okay, you want me to keep going? The average of colleague, all 8 finishes, 16.3. That is way above colleague's average. They run well here. I heard AJ Allmendinger tell Dave Moody this afternoon that they just bring hot rods to the spring Vegas race. The fall Vegas race, not so much, but the spring, absolutely, they got hot rods. You want to know what Rick Ware's average finish in those 8 finishes, 4 races, 2 cars? 30.1. That is a 14 spot difference. I don't care what metric you look at. I don't care what stat you look at. I don't care what alliance you think is coming for Rick Ware Racing. God, I cannot say that fast.
You can't. No, you can't. You're so
wait. Racing. I'm just going to say racing.
Yeah,
I don't care what alliance you think is coming to RWR, which is not easier to say. It is still Rick Ware Racing. Did I mention that we're getting plus money? I mean, what else do you need from me, from anybody else, to think that this is not a slamma-jamma? I don't care that it's his first Cup race. The only argument, I do care that it's his first Cup race. The only argument that I will accept from anybody on this is that it's Kraus's first race and it's Justin Haley's 110th race. So is Kraus going to stick his nose where he shouldn't? Maybe. Is he going to ride around and be way too conservative? Maybe. We just don't know yet. That is the only argument that I will listen to. Other than that, this is an absolute no-brainer. Take the plus money. Rick Ware Racing. Terrible.
So, Phil, I'm going to let you go first. I know where you're going to go, but where are you going to head with this matchup for the people listening?
I'm riding because I'm already locked in with this bet. And for all of those reasons, I mean, very eloquent in the way that you've put it.
It is.
And yeah, I mean, it's equipment versus driver to me, in addition to a fun bet and one that I hope that we hit. This is a good like case study starting the season. Like, even if you're not betting this, I find this super interesting to follow because of, you know, using Justin Haley as the barometer over there at Rick Ware and coming from colleague who's going to have that carousel. This the team versus driver scenario is very interesting to me. So, but I'm riding, baby. We're locked in. I'm locked in. I'm going along with the ship here.
I gotta butt in here. I gotta say one more thing that I totally forgot to mention. I do understand that half of those races that I just spit out, half of those finishes for colleague were under the umbrella of Justin Haley. I still don't care. All right. You could put, like, here's my argument. You put Kyle Larson in the 51 and you put Justin Haley in the 5. Is Larson going to be able to keep up with the 5 with Haley? Absolutely not. There's no chance. I don't care. There's just no possible way.
Equipment. You're dead wrong. With that comment, you're dead wrong.
Equipment means so much in today's NASCAR. That's oblivious. That is ridiculous.
You're telling me that you put Larson in the 15. Let's put some respect.
15, fine, whatever.
Put him in the 15. He's not going out and going to beat Kraus.
No, I said you put Haley in the 5 and you put Larson in the 15. It's not even close.
Sorry. Yep, you did say that. I'm gonna just that one back.
Equipment means so
I
much.
I was getting ready to jump. Okay, that one I see. Okay, carry on. All right, well, let me say my point then. I want you guys. Let me just. This is on air. We're seeing this on YouTube. Listening to on the show. I want you guys to win your bet. Believe me, I want Phil. I want more than anybody right now. I want you to win every bet this weekend. Every bet. I'm going to fade for this sake of the. I do think Haley, and you didn't even say how many employees Rick Ware has. I did all that work for you to find out how many employees they have. But I think Haley, because of his experience, I think you guys are sleeping way too much on that 15 car. That Rick Ware is everything that team is doing, and this isn't AJ. This isn't Haley in the 31 last year. I don't think Kraus is a guy that's going to get in a cup car, which is so edgy. This is not an Xfinity car and goes out there. I think it's going to be closer than you guys think. You guys are my friends. I want you guys to hit this bet. I'm not rooting for me to be correct necessarily, but if it were me, I'm choosing Haley. Go ahead, Phil.
Closer than you guys think.
Yeah.
This is going to be a close fucking match. Like
these guys are betting this number the whole way down till it's
because
going to be a minus number
because it's the number makes sense. But we're not saying this is like a layup for Derek Kraus's first career start. No way. But that's what makes this interesting. And I see Matt's comment in there about Haley's 15.5 average finish. That's top 10 out of everyone at Las Vegas. Correct. But the point that we're trying to make is, that's the colleague.
It's in a colleague car. That's the whole point.
Yeah,
that's the whole argument.
Kraus is driving. That he's driving that whip. That's the point.
I hear what you, but I think you guys are putting way too much emphasis on that. It's purely all about the equipment and not as much about the driver. I think the driver does make up more percentage than what you, Mark, are giving.
So I see your point. However, when I know you're not as experienced in the shitbox world as I am, so let me just explain something to you.
Please.
When you get to the shitboxes, the equipment means, like when you got the power rankings and the models and you put in how much weight you want for each statistic, equipment gets like 80% of it. All right. So, and like Phil said, I don't expect Kraus to beat Haley on speed by 14 spots. I expect it to be more in the 5 to 7 spot range, maybe less. I would say around 5, but that's enough for me to bet the equipment difference at plus money.
I hear what you're saying there. I just think with a rookie driver coming in first cup start, right? This is his first cup start.
Numero uno.
And it is going to be cold. It's going to be windy a bit. Coming down to make a green flag pit stop, I don't trust him. So
we got practice this week.
We do have practice. Yeah, thank God for 20 minutes. Thank you, Steve Phelps and all of NASCAR for giving us 20 minutes. And thank you, FS1, for going to commercial 5 minutes in the qualifying and practice, I'm sure. All right. That's pretty good. I wish Ryan was here to kind of go back and forth on that. So good little segment there. Again, we're going to be doing that. We're going to keep track. I'm obviously going to be – somebody's going to be on the losing end here going into next week. We got another thing coming up in a little bit. So, Mark, I'm going to go back to you. I want to hear what you have to say from a finishing position prop, and then we'll dive into some other things. Then we'll get to more of our topics here. So what do you got for us?
I'm going to be pretty short here because we're going to talk about him a lot, and I know Phil's on him, but it's Ross Chastain, and I'm going to cut to the chase. So I'm taking him top 10, minus 125 on Hard Rock. Last 4 Vegas races on NLD speed. Once again, I haven't brought this out yet. This is non-loop data speed, so this is what Zach, our buddy Highline Betting, he kind of massages the loop data, so he calls it non-loop data, but it's essentially just loop data with the funny business thrown out. So I'm not saying that loop data is bad to look at. I still look at loop data. I still look at everyone's stuff, but I revert back to this. So last 4 Vegas races, NLD speed, 1st, 2nd, 6th, and 9th, which with finishes, as you guys have mentioned, of 3 top 5s and a 12th. So if you look at the comp tracks that Zach recommended that we use Kansas, Charlotte, and Vegas. So you morph all those together. He's 9th. However, his worst NLD average speed ranking is 13th. So not that far off. Not like guys like Buescher, even Bell had one in the mid-20s. Buescher's way off. Some of these guys that have shown good speed some places and or at Vegas and some places and not others. Chastain has been Mr. Consistent at all the comp tracks plus Vegas. So I really like the number here, minus 125. I even saw a minus 120 earlier. I would not dip my toe into the minus 135, minus 150. I believe DraftKings or Caesars has him at. Would not sniff that. But a minus 125, minus 120 for Ross Chastain for a top 10. I expect him to go out and practice well. I don't think he's going to light the world on fire at practice, but I think he's going to practice well. He never qualifies well. But I think if practice times are, in that 5 to 10 range, this number is going to be at that minus 150 across the board, minus 170. And then if he throws down a qualifying lap that is out of his realm, then this number and even his outright number could get down to 12 or 10 to 1. So I think pre-practice and qualifying, this is absolutely a bet, and it will be a bet on my card regardless of what he does at practice and qualifying. Also, this is the only bet that I have basically post-practice and qualifying money on, but it's pre-practice and qualifying. So think of it that way. I also said I was going to be short, and I wasn't.
No, I think that was fine. Maybe that's short compared to long. I'm not sure. Phil, real quick, and I want to hear what you have to say. Top, middle, bottom. Pick one. Top, middle, bottom.
Top.
And 1, 2, or 3.
3.
Mark, go behind you. Top row.
Oh my God.
Third box to the right. I want to see what you got. All right, Phil, go ahead. He's going to do an unboxing in a minute. Go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say from a finishing prop standpoint.
Well,
we're going to have fun on this show.
Unboxing, just for a second here. When my basement flooded today from my water heater, my wife found all of my die cast that I buy randomly at Target that I've just had stacked in the corner. And it's like, what the hell is this? Does
she know?
She I feel like I'm like a loser. Just very depressing. She's like, what is this?
I hate to break it to you guys, but you're not going to believe this.
Just wait.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just wait. I want to hear what Phil has to say first.
So
sorry.
So position bet.
Yeah.
I thought that we were waiting for these top 10 lines to drop this week, right? I know a lot of people were. I was one of them, refreshing like crazy. And because I was scrambling, trying to find something fun, something different to bet on because of the absence of that, found my way over to Bovada. Okay. Everybody has the ability to bet on Bovada, offshore book, right? So they have individual driver over under finishing position. And I am obsessed with this shit. So I've been on it all day. On earlier today when I put it down. So I'm going to mention too that the line has changed on, unfortunately. But Bubba Wallace's over under when I took it and put it out there on the pod, minus 115 for over under 14.5.
No.
Yes. Crush the under, obviously. That is unfortunately, as we talk now, at minus 145. So that's
thank you,
not fun there. But here's another one that's kind of in the same vein. Christopher Bell. I think Christopher Bell is strong this week. His over under is 9.5. And you're essentially buying a spot, right? Instead of a top 10 bet, which he's minus 167, the best top 10 bet you can find on him. This has him, it was minus 115. Now it's minus 125 under 9.5. I still think that that's solid. I think Christopher Bell is someone that, is really strong. 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s in the next gen era. He had 1 wreck, so that kind of throws off as average, but good driver rating. 1.5 miles last year, he was really strong. 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s in those 6 races that we use as comp. So Christopher Bell, I'm very interested in him. And if we're looking at finishing position props, I found those over under specific drivers very fun to play. Because for the most part, I told you to put a pin in the Chase Elliott conversation.
Yes, we did.
I took over 11.5 at plus money, plus 100, because I just don't trust Chase. So if he burns me, but I think it's a fun bet to play.
Oh, I think it's a great bet to bet. And I was looking at Bubba's like last few races. He scored a stage point, like he's finished inside the top 10 in what looks like 7 of the last 9. So like he's right there inside that top 10. And with that wreck that was back when he got into Larson with the little shoving match, he won the first stage. So I love that. That's great, Phil. 14. That's great. All right. Mark, what'd you get for an unboxing here? For everybody watching on YouTube, what you got for us? Make sure you share it on X as well so people can understand what you got. You're going to have to do a little color commentary here.
I will do some color commentary. I will also tweet a picture out of it. And I just know that this is not rigged. I literally went to the back wall, went top right, grabbed it. I hope that YouTube audience could see me. Yep. And it was also in a box. It was in a box. So like
dummy.
I had no idea what was in it. Okay.
Come on.
The wall ride.
Yes, the wall. Ross.
I mean,
Martinsville, 2000.
We're all over. We're all over Ross.
I mean,
and it's the wall ride. So I don't know what scheme he's in, but if he's in the Moose fraternity scheme, put your mortgage on Ross Chastain outright this week. All right.
Okay. All right. I like it there. Phil, you put prayers up in YouTube. Everything good? Or what was the prayers up? What did I miss?
No, Big Ross was saying, I hope that they don't limit you at Bovada. I was just saying prayers up. Hopefully they don't.
Okay. All right. I saw prayers up and I was like, what did I miss? I'm like trying to do a billion things here. So I was like, if somebody die, I don't know. In the chat.
Bubba finishes under 14.5, they might catch on.
You scared me there a bit. All right, so let's do this. Let's go into our outright bets. Who's going to go to victory? Presented by Victory Fuel this weekend. So, boys, who's going to victory? Oh, by the way, if you go to Victory Fuel, drinkvictory.com, use promo code FrontStretch, FRONTSTRETCH, Front Stretch. You get 10% off at checkout. I highly, highly recommend it. You want to win? Listen, anybody out there that wants to win Chastain on Sunday, buy Victory Fuel. He'll be in Victory Lane on Sunday. All right, Phil, go ahead.
Was not expecting to come back to me that quick, but
I know I just went with it.
So I could choose to go with a guy towards the top of the board who I really think has a really good chance of winning, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go more entertaining. I'm going to go with a little further down the list. I took Alex Bowman 22-1. Bowman, to me, this stands out as a guy who's kind of forgotten. If you look at the list, it drops off right after him. So the books are kind of saying he's the last guy you could bet on without just making it a complete prayer. And I'm interested in him top 10s. I saw there was a parlay out there with him and Bubba, on Caesars for both finishing top 10. I like that too. In his last 10 races, he only had 9 of them. He has a win, 3 top 5s and 4 top 10s at this racetrack. His average finished 13.5. Great. You look at his last 4. We're zeroing in on the next gen error here. And he had 3 races in that time span, obviously. His average finished 13.0. But if you look closer, right, he got caught up in a wreck last year. That skews his numbers. Outside of that, a first place and a third place. And then he had that weirdness happen after Vegas last year, came back, and his season was shit. So a first and a third before things got out of whack. He started the season really strong last year. I'm assuming that we're going to get our first taste of Bowman being strong again here at Vegas at a racetrack where he has been strong in the recent past here. And even last year, even with that poor average finish because of the wreck, his driver rating is 4th in that time span out of everyone in the next gen era. So clearly someone that could get it done. Last year on mile and a halfs, he had 1 top 5. It came at this racetrack before he was out for an extended period of time. He was 4 for 5 top 15s. Average finish was 14.4. But you think about what a shit year everyone was saying the 48 was having. It's not to their standards, but he was still holding water. He was still right around that top 10 mark on those mile and a half. So I think we're going back to Bowman at a large number. It's the number that gets your attention at 22-1 in a Hendrick car. They've been super strong here. He's got it done. And when he wins, he usually comes out of left field. So this would be considered left field.
I would say this would be considered left field. And in the atop the pit box, which I know you're in, I have Bowman as my one guy. So I'm hopeful for Bowman. I mean, obviously last week was poor representation. I also had Tyler Reddick last week. Didn't do really well. Mark, how about you from an outright perspective? Where are we going? And if you say Ross Chest, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I did have two of these lined up for a little, little risk management with Phil, because you never know. There's been times in the past where we're on the same guy, and I'm like, sorry, Phil, I don't have a backup, and Phil always has a backup. So even if I wanted to take the other guy, I have to take Ross Chastain 16-1, still available at Bet365.
Where we're at.
I literally have no other argument to base my bet off of than what I mentioned in his top 10 market. Also, I just pulled out the wall ride diecast randomly off the wall mid-show. He's third in the power rankings. Model spit power rankings. No, model swallow power rankings spit out winners. So Zach always tells me that there's a very, very, very good chance that the winner comes from the top 3 of his power rankings after practice and qualifying. Not every week, obviously, but when we do hit the winner, the guy's in the top 3. That's how we bet it. So he's third, and like I mentioned, his top 10. This number, I'm hoping, is not going to be there come post-practice and qualifying. This is why you bet the number. This is why this is part of the reason why Phil is betting the Bowman number. That's a nice number. And if he goes out and practices well and qualifies well, that 22-1, 25-1, whatever it was, not going to be there. So I don't have any other explanation. By the way, the last 2 weeks of having no explanations has worked out mighty fine. So we'll keep the ball rolling. Ross Chastain, because I pulled out his diecast.
I like that. And I was trying to figure out, what do I have that's watermelon around here? First thing I had in my mini fridge, a watermelon aloe drink. So it's all coming up watermelon today.
Phil, you're up.
Yeah, you need to find something that's watermelon related. All right, let's do this. Let's go into the best bets, best value. Maybe we already talked about it. Phil loves the segment. It's the one that he always texts me about. So, Mark, I'm going to start with you, then I'll end with Phil. What's the best bet on the board that you found? Maybe it's something we've already talked about.
It's not a best bet. We used to do this thing on this show. We used to be a real show, but no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we used to be a real country.
Yeah,
it used to be like a best bet or like a value bet, but now it's just the best value. Anyway,
the best bet.
It's the best bet. It's not my favorite bet. It's just a bet. It's certainly a bet. But anyway,
what's your favorite bet? I want your favorite bet.
Oh, my favorite bet's Ross Chastain top 10 minus 125. Okay, that's my best bet. Can I give you some value though?
I don't want you to whip a play out of your ass and then somebody's like, "I'm tailing this guy," and it's like, you didn't even do it. I want your best bet. I want your best bet.
I'm not in the business of having 13,000 plays on my card anymore. We learned no. Yeah. I'm getting somewhere with this.
No,
we learned our lesson. All right, we learned our lesson. So I might come into shows like tonight. I have 3 plays. That's it. I might come into next week's show. I might have 6 plays. I might have 2 plays. I don't know. So I'll leave you. So Ross Chastain top 10 minus 125 best bet of the weekend. I love Phil's Bubba bet that you can't get. I love the Bell bet that you may or may not be able to get. I love that 9.5 too. Let me give you a little value here. McDriver 100-1. Don't bet this. You will lose your money. Don't bet it. You can bet the top 3 at a big number, top 5 at a big number. I really wish the top 10 was better than 3-1. I was really expecting the books to, 100-1, prorated a little bit. No, 3-1 is the best you're going to get. But hear me out. I said this at the very beginning of the show during Rapid Fire. If the FRM Penske Alliance is the tier 1, like what we saw with Furniture Row, I doubt it is. I don't think it's going to be. However, if it is the Joe Gibbs Furniture Row relationship, just go bet McDriver at 100-1. Joey Logano has run very well in this race, probably because the same sponsor that sponsors the race sponsors the car. Just go take some beer money that you were thinking about spending some Busch Light on, put it on McDriver, and then that'll pay for your next race weekend trip. I can't speak. I can't say my R's tonight. I might need to go see a speech therapist. Go bet Mike Mack 100-1.
Okay, so you prefaced that well, I think. How about you, Phil? Favorite bet that we talked about? I mean, you mentioned your Bubba bet. I don't know if it gets better than that, but nobody can get that right now.
Yeah, I did like that. It's a shame that number's not there. I was excited to talk about that. But
would have been gone in 2 minutes.
I'll throw a value out there, and maybe folks will disagree. When I say value, I'm getting plus money on this bet. Caesars has 23-11 going up against Penske, and 23-11
Okay.
plus 135 in this head-to-head matchup. I understand fully that this is a unfair fight, 3 versus 2, but I'm taking Cindric and I'm saying, go sit on the bench, little boy. We'll call you for super speedways. Thanks for coming out.
Scored a top 10 last year.
Yeah. And 23-11 has 2 guys, Wallace and Reddick, that their statistics in the next gen era at Vegas and especially the mile and a halves all last year are better than Penske. When we're looking at Vegas, it's like, I know that there was a time and a place where Penske was very good here. I used to auto bet Penske in Vegas. I said this on the pod, and that time has passed, man. It took me a while to like get over that, but it's gone. It's not here anymore. If you look at Logano's recent finishes, Blaney's like just okay, and Cindric is Cindric. You look at Wallace, who we documented his success recently, but Reddick is also very good. I mean, the numbers for Reddick is better than anybody out of the 5 that we're dealing with here in the last 4 races at Las Vegas. And then the mile and a half last year, both 23-11 guys are head and shoulders better than all 3 Penske guys in driver rating, average finish, green flag speed, average running position, whatever you want to say. So plus money for 2 guys who are very solid, and I just need one of them to step up. You know, obviously you say Cindric got a top 10 in Vegas last year, and
that was from Mark. That was from Mark.
I'm discrediting him, you know, and if he does come from the back and beat me, so be it. But you know, we don't know what's going on with Logano. Maybe he's pushing a little bit because of that scheme and the fact that he's like 30 millionth in points, and the 23-11 guys are going to come through for me.
Okay, so I think the 23-11 is going to be very strong. You mentioned it. Tyler Reddick's statistics at this track are insane, and Bubba obviously, and what he's been able to do a mile and a half, and his game, his drivability just is getting better and better. I have a question up here from Chris, and it has to do with what you were saying about Bubba, and I'm going to say what I have to say first, and then Phil, you can chime in, or Mark. But Chris is asking on YouTube, he's asking Bubba Wallace under 12.5 finishing position at -110. Is this still a good bet? Yes or no? Chris, I would look at what his top 10 bet is, what his top 10 price is. If it's a plus money or if it beats that -110, I would just take that, because essentially you're saying I'm going to take out the 11th and 12th spot. I think if he's going to be inside the top 12, he's going to finish top 10. So I would look at what that price is. If it's not better, then yeah, take that. Absolutely. So whatever one's better, top 10 or that. Phil, kind of agree. Mark, agree there?
He's plus 110 on Caesars to finish top 10.
I would take that. Top 10. Right?
Yeah. Hard Rock has him at -110, so might as well pick up the extra 2 spots.
So if it's -110, you pick up the extra 2 spots, plus money, taking top 10, right, Phil?
I'm a pussy, so I'll pay the points. I'll pay the price for the extra 2 spots.
That's pretty good.
I'm too like mi amigo last week, right? I was like, oh, I'm gonna take him top 10. I didn't have the balls to throw him out, right? Like you guys. So yeah, I'm fine giving plus -110 for extra 2 spots.
I don't hate it. All right,
because that's what would happen, dude. Like if I
took what would happen to you.
Top 10, he would finish 11th. Like that's what would happen.
I hear you. I hear that.
It's almost like taking the underdog plus 2.5 and not buying the half point. Like that's essentially what you're doing here. So might as well just buy the half point.
All right. So here's what we're gonna do. This is a new segment, and it is going to be a lot of fun. But we do need your participation, the users or the listeners. Whether it doesn't matter what platform, YouTube, X, podcast, whatever it is, because we need to figure out what some punishments are. So here's what we're gonna do throughout the course of the rest of the season. I send the guys at around noon 3 DraftKings head-to-heads. DraftKings, official partner of NASCAR, but also is a wildly available book, so many people can jump on if they want to jump on. So I'm going to send them 3 random head-to-heads. Each guy picks a head-to-head of whichever side they're on. We're going to tally up how many are right throughout the course of the year. The top 2 are safe. The bottom 2 have to do some type of a wild punishment, and we need to figure it out before this weekend. I threw a couple things out there that were fun and could be interesting. One, for example, the people at the bottom have to drive 6 hours to their nearest SMI track, touch the track, go home, and like document and all that. So like we're coming up with all these ideas what it could be. It's going to be something that is a punishment, but it's going to be fun to be tracking all year. So here's who the head-to-heads are. If you're watching on YouTube, you see it on scrolling on the bottom. Please feel free to chime in on X and YouTube podcast as well. We'll keep these tracked all year. So the first one is Denny Hamlin minus 115, William Byron minus 115. I'm going Hamlin over Byron. The next one's Logano minus 105. Martin Truex minus 125. Kind of to what you were saying, Phil. We used to always bet the Fords here with Logano, but I'm going with MTJ. He's just top 10s people to death here at this track. And then the final one is Ryan Blaney minus 110, Christopher Bell minus 120. I do think Ryan Blaney has been showing a lot of speed. I'll take Blaney. So I'm going Blaney, Hamlin, and MTJ. Phil, how about you? Who are you going? What do your matchups look like this week?
So there's one that we agree, and the other two, I think I'm going to go the opposite.
All right, good.
Yeah, so I like MTJ. If you assume he's going to be in the top 10, like he's done 4 out of 4 times in the next gen era, then you got to beat him, and he's going up against who? Logano, right?
Yeah.
And Logano's finished in the top 10 once, and it was a victory. So the other 3 times were not that great. I like MTJ. I'm going Willie B over who was Willie B facing? Hamlin. I know Hamlin's got a lot of people's attention. I'm going Willie B. I think Willie B could win this damn race. So
I hear that.
Go with him.
I love what Hamlin was saying on the podcast about the Toyota. So I was like, damn, like you're talking a lot of good stuff. I like to hear. All right, so you're going Byron over him. Got it.
Yeah, Hamlin's a company man. He's got you. He's a salesman.
I don't know if he is. And then he gets in trouble.
And then I'm gonna go Christopher Bell because I believe in Christopher Bell. I made a point about Christopher Bell. Love Blaney. But with these Fords, I gotta see them prove it. Like they haven't been good at Vegas. I know Blaney has an exception in there, but still over the last 4 races, I'm going Bell.
Okay, so you're going MTJ, Byron, Bell. Mark, how about you? What are your 3 matchups? And again, these are available on DraftKings. Feel free to join us, fade us, do whatever you want, but wanted to put out something that people could join in if they wanted to. Mark, what are you going with?
Well, Phil and I are either going to be top dogs tied for first, or we're going to be in the shitter together.
Like
so
get behind early.
Yeah, so like I'm not a big as you heard earlier, I'm not a big equal equipment pre-practice qualifying matchup guy.
Yeah.
But I said equal equipment, equal-ish equipment.
Ish.
So what I'm gonna do is I am going to use this as an opportunity to showcase my buddy Zach with Highline Betting. I'm going to talk about him all year long. If you don't want to hear about it, I don't care because he's won me more money than I can count the last 2 years. So let me pull up my notes here.
Oh boy.
Power rankings. We'll start with Ryan Blaney and Christopher Bell. Power rankings. Christopher Bell 4th, Ryan Blaney 9th. NLD speed last 4 Vegas races. Bell 7th, Blaney 11th. Give me C Bell. Okay. By the way, all 3 of these matchups, both the power rankings and the average speed lined up, and they're all essentially the same juice here and there, 10 cents, yada, yada.
You're welcome.
Byron and Hamlin, I'm taking Willie B. I also think he has a very good chance to win the race. Not going to bet him. Could get him somewhere, live like my main man Roars does. But power rankings, Byron 2nd, Hamlin 5th. I would definitely not bet this one, but for the sake of the game. And then Truex and Logano, I am also going Truex. However, like I said at the beginning, I am a little, I don't want worried. I'm skeptical. I have a little itch in my arse about Fords being good this weekend. Obviously, I don't have a single bet on them, but I got a little something in the gut. It's your favorite term.
So you're
going
for
the Fords. I think the downforce. No, I'm taking Truex. No. I'm taking Truex. I just wanted to say that I'm a little skeptical. I wouldn't bet that one either. I'm a little skeptical. I really, Phil, I totally agree with you. I see your point. I understand it. But it's more of a stay away for me, but I get it.
All right, so here's what Ryan sent in. So everybody gets to hear what Ryan says. I'm going to try to read all his notes, tons of notes that he says for these three. So when we look at Ryan Blaney versus Christopher Bell, and actually, Mark, you kind of read off some pre-qualifying stuff. He says Bell's first, tier 5 of 7 versus Blaney, who's 8th. Bell, 18% more of his laps were run inside the top 10. Over 40% more were outside the top 5. If both drivers have questions going into this new body, take the one who has already had the advance for the track time over the weekend. So he is going to go with Christopher Bell there. William Byron versus Denny Hamlin. He's going William Byron. I should probably be writing these down, right? I should probably be. So there's Bell. He's going to go. He's going Byron. And he says, Byron qualified top 5 over half of the intermediate packages raced in 2023. 7 of 13 qualified second and third here in Vegas. Denny didn't qualify inside the top 10. And we know, that team does struggle sometimes with qualifying. Denny's won here, but far from Denny's track, so he likes Byron. He thinks he was the 3rd best driver since 2021. And then Martin Truex, a clean sweep for MTJ. So we're all going MTJ over Logano. So whether you want to tail what we're saying or fade what we're saying there, that's probably going to be a loser now, but doesn't matter. That's not going to score many points for all of us. He says Truex running 78% of his laps inside the top 10 at Vegas, Kansas. Logano 30% stage racing. He says Truex top 12 top 10s have been 12 of 13. Logano has 3 wins, but lately boom or bust. He's going to go with Truex there. So again, got these all listed. Going to be putting them out. I'll put a little graphic together. Follow along all year. We're going to go over this. It's going to get intense here in the later months as we're getting closer to the end of the season. We'll come up with, some type of a punishment going into this weekend for the rest of the year. Boys, we did it. It was a lot of, felt a little chaotic. Everybody listening, thank you very much for tuning in. Let me get Mark's comments here to close out the show. Mark, how can everybody support you? And don't say Rick Ware.
I hope everyone can hear me because one of my AirPods died, and I hope the other one works. So
everybody
good. Lane Coin will be out Friday morning. Maybe actually, I'd take that back. We tried to schedule it. We did it. It wasn't fun. We got some late night crowds out there, so it'll be out late tomorrow night. Follow me on Twitter at Skybox NASCAR. You know the deal. Just interact with your boy. I like to drink beer. I like to shoot the shit. Okay. And I like to cash some bets. So here we go.
I like it. Phil, how about you? And then I'll close this out. So how can everybody best support you? Your podcast dropped today. So how can everybody get involved with what you're doing?
Yep. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Full Tank Phil. Full Tank with Phil's name of the pod. Give us a listen and let me know what you think. I'll be on the NASCAR report with Rye Cape and Cody Zeeb's going to be on there with me tomorrow night. So give that a look and we'll try to get some trucks going here, Derek. So thanks for everyone for listening and supporting. Let's win some bets.
I like it. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. Follow me at Derek Yoder _ on Twitter. Follow the NASCAR Betting Preview Show at NASCAR BPS on X as well. Again, make sure you subscribe to our friends over here at In Between Media. Like the video as well. Helps us grow. We've had a record number of viewers the first 2 weeks, I should say, with Daytona and Atlanta across all platforms. So can't thank the NASCAR community enough there. Make sure you download the NASCAR Betting Preview Show podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. This will be out here later tonight. And everybody, have a great rest of your week. Enjoy Las Vegas. Hopefully everybody's able to cash. We have a lot of fun here tonight on the show. Ryan, we miss you. Sorry we couldn't have you on. I see Todd Furman in the house on the X Spaces. Make sure you go follow and download the Stay Green podcast. Him and Chris is on a little bit of a journey going up north, and Todd was in Honolulu doing a little Honolulu dance. So make sure you guys follow that show. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll catch you next week as the series heads to, I can't remember, Bristol, maybe not. I'm not sure. All right, we'll catch you guys.
Phoenix. West Coast swing, dude.
My head. You gotta forgive me. All right, we'll catch you guys later. Thanks for tuning in.